Welcome everyone to Hearttalk, coming to you live from Kota Kinabalu in Sabah in Malaysia. Wherever you're from, thank you for joining me. I love your company today. It is 1 p.m. right here in Kota Kinabalu, and whichever part of the world you're from, I want to bid you a welcome. And if this is the first time that you're locking into Hearttalk with Dr. Charles Lee, please press those buttons and the bells and let it jingle. I know Christmas is over, but I'd love you to subscribe and join us because we have some fantastic guests that come in usually twice a week on Hearttalk. And I'd love your company because it's lunchtime here in Malaysia. Now, today is no exception, and we have a wonderful guest with us today. And I want to just start off by introducing him to you. And so, Mr. Gary Lam is the founder and CEO at Asia CEO Community, with over 20 years of sales and business development experiences at the Deutsche Bank, the Thomson Reuters, and Western Union. He graduated from Monash University in Melbourne, Australia, with a master's degree in applied finance, a bachelor's degree in computing, and a bachelor's degree in banking and finance. So we've got a financial expert with us who's got many, many years of this experience in the business world. Founded in 2016 in September, the Asia CEO Community is a pioneering prestigious club in Asia, specially catered for entrepreneurs and corporate CEOs. The community has long been creating a nurturing environment for Asia CEOs and is dedicated to improving the profitability and quality of their enterprises through shared thoughts, insights, and experience. It also serves as a unique platform to facilitate growth transfer, knowledge transfer between different industries. So, please join me to welcome the CEO of Asia CEO Community, Mr. Gary Lam, all the way from Hong Kong, live. Come in, Gary, and join me.
Hi, Dr. Charles. Thank you for your invitation. It's my great honor to be here with you today.
Yeah, and it's my prestigious honor to be with you with such a company. And off the bat, let me just wish you a happy new year. And 2023 may be successful. And I know Chinese New Year is coming up, so it's going to be a double whammy this year.
Yeah, happy New Year to you too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you have New Year twice, it's a good feeling.
Yes.
It sets you up for success, and so once again, thank you very much. We have just come out through 2 years of a crisis, and this time it is more of a contagion of a different effect, as opposed to the virus, and compared to a financial contagion, which we know very well. And so I want to welcome you, and I want to start off by saying this sentence: success is not what you get, but what you become.
Yeah.
Your thoughts. Let's start off with your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Success is not something happen by luck. You need to work for it. There's a lot of success people. Most of the people might think they just happen by luck, but I think actually most of them, they do a lot of hard work. They spend a lot of their time each day to work on what they do. So yeah, I think successful is something you need to work for it. So
absolutely,
yeah. So
it's exactly what you said. You got to work for it. I mean, as a plastic surgeon, when I finish a surgery, it's always nice to have a successful surgery. In everything that we do, I think the word success has been contaminated, polluted, and it's become toxic in today's world, because a lot of people will try to achieve it at the cost of losing their own core values. And I think I want to congratulate you. Now, let's just start off with your background. As I just read off just now in the introduction, you have got a financial umbrella over your head. because everything that you started off school, college, and university.
Yeah.
Was there a family DNA trait to it? Was there anyone in the family that got you into finance or what?
Um, yeah, actually, my dad, he wanted me to work at a bank. So, Asian parents, so
Yeah.
they mostly want their kids to work in a bank or work, the government. So I choose to work for a bank. So I studied it. So I got a bachelor degree and master degree in finance. So once I graduated, I joined the Deutsche Bank and then the other finance related company. So I was in the finance industry for more than 12 years. So yeah, actually it was quite exciting, and I learned quite a lot from banks and other financial institutions. Yeah.
I want to congratulate you, and I want to actually say that you've got a feather in your cap, because if there's one thing that I did not know and did not learn even till today is the world of finance.
Yeah.
And as a medical man,
Yeah.
it was one thing that I've never ever caught on. Even though my surname is Lee, and
Yeah.
there's no Chinese blood.
Oh.
With the name Charles Lee, they always expect a Chinese. I wish I had some Chinese. I wish I had some Chinese DNA. I would have done very well in finance, but
Yeah.
it cost me a lot. And when we're talking about finance now,
Yeah.
and so there was a family history there. I mean, you were nudged into going into the financial world. I remember finance for me is a big hoodoo and a voodoo, because in 1997, when there was the financial crisis, the Asian tigers, Gary,
Right.
it hit me really hard, and
Mm.
we lost so fast. It was faster than an elevator coming down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just
I agree with you. Yeah.
bleeding.
Yeah.
And so if you look back yourself 20 years, and we're going back to what, 2002, let's say,
Yeah.
and then come fast forward a bit to 2008, when the crisis happened in 2008, 2009, where were you and what were you doing? I want your thoughts from there.
At that time, I was working at Deutsche Bank, but because I was in the FX trading department, um,
Uh-huh.
actually the market went down. It didn't affect us much. Actually, our FX department earned quite a lot of money because of that. Because we can trade either way. We can trade the currency go up or down. So actually, we made a couple of very good bets. So that actually we earned quite a lot of money during that time. So yeah, so actually yeah, at that time I was actually quite happy. I
Well,
should put
this
it
is
this way, but actually it was so good for me at that time.
this
Yeah,
is
I know that. Yeah, a lot of sleep.
listening to you, this is the paradox of the
Yeah,
financial world,
yeah,
where the people in the marketplace,
yeah,
people like me in the middle class, people who are working, the poor, all that,
yeah,
go through such a bad strain, and yet the banking sector does well,
yeah,
because when the chips are down, that's the time they go in.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and I love what Warren Buffett says. He doesn't buy stocks; he buys businesses.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
And I think that's a fantastic mindset shift,
Hmm.
to think that today, when I was doing medicine, when I first started in 1979, that's
Hmm.
40 years of working as a doctor. People used to ask me, "How are your patients?"
Hmm.
Today, 40 years later, how is business? You
Yeah,
see, so the whole world revolves around the financial side of it, and you become so orientated that you lose sometimes your credibility of what you were trained for. Your talent
yeah.
becomes so fixed on mindset of finance.
Hmm.
So you looked at 2008, 2009 in a total different lens. You looked at the lens of doing well.
Yes. Actually, I was doing okay. So
Okay.
yeah, a lot of my friends actually they lost their job, but it didn't happen to me. I guess at that time I was pretty lucky. Yeah.
I'm sure, I'm sure. And that was in your 20s, late 20s, 30s?
Yeah, it was my late 20s. Yeah, so yeah, it was my late 20s.
Okay.
So, yeah, and um, yes, I was able to keep my job, and I was able to get a good bonus. While a lot of people they lost their job, and then I consider myself was lucky at that time. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah,
let's just go because these crises have been happening every 10 years.
yes.
1997
Hmm,
and then 2008
hmm.
and now 2020. It's a different type of
Yeah,
contagion. Before
yes,
it was a financial contagion. Now
correct.
it is a viral contagion. We just don't know what's going on. And I
Hmm,
guess, you're looking at it from a culture aspect.
hmm,
How did you see any vacuum, Gary, in the financial world
hmm,
that you had to step out and start this whole concept of a community of business people? I mean, what did you see
hmm,
in that financial bubble
hmm.
that told you, look, it's time that we come together and get ready for the next contagion? You know what I'm trying to get you at? I'm trying
Yeah.
to lead you from, the way you were brought up through the world of finance, and then you worked in the business world, and then crisis happened, you did well,
Hmm.
and now you've started something, and I want to congratulate you. 10 years after that, you have started what, 2016, right?
Yeah.
What made you really start this whole community project?
So I started this company 6 years ago. So at that time, I didn't really thought of anything of it. It just happened because uh, 6 years ago there was a time when the renminbi against the USD it suddenly ran down. And a number of my clients, they hedged their position incorrectly. So they want to know what their peers were doing, how they can recover the position. So they called me up, and then they want to know what the peers were doing. So they asked me to organize a lunch. So I was there just for the, enjoy the food, and then they do
But
all.
where were you working at that time again?
At that time, I was working at Thomson Reuters. Yes,
Okay.
I was
Reuters.
in the corporate treasury department. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so I got quite a lot of contact with the listed corporate CFO and their treasurers. So I called it. I think I called it more 15 of them, and then 12 of them turned up. That's how we started our first event. And then
What was the okay? Now I want to stop you there because you're a founder.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and like me, as a founder of the Asia Pacific consultation on
yeah,
marketplace mindfulness, and then I founded the recent APICON.
mm,
A founder normally starts with a blank piece of paper. It's
yeah,
quite different from a CEO.
yeah,
And so your concept is that you got together this group of people because not many
mm,
people come into the founding mindset of how it
yeah,
started. They forget. They think it's a big thing and everybody comes in and hoo-ha and all that. But the founder, for me, I'm relating to you as how you grew into this whole
mm,
platform.
mm,
First of all, you were told to bring in a group of people because there was a need, right?
yes,
And
correct.
that need was a recovery mode need. How do we
Yeah.
recover, right,
Mm.
our finances? And so, what did you see in that meeting of 12 people?
Actually, at the first meeting, I didn't see much, but what I did was I we took a photo after the lunch, and then I put it on the social media, and then I start to get a lot of requests for joining the lunch for the second month. So
Can you remember the topic?
the topic was mostly related to um foreign exchange, like
All
how
right.
they can do their risk management or do their hedging for their foreign exchange positions. So
Okay.
yeah, we got a lot of CFOs. They contacted me, and then they want to join the lunch. So for the second lunch, we started to have more than I think from 12 people. For the second one we have around 36 people, and then it kept on growing until for the 6 months later, after we started the first luncheon, we got a call from the government. They want to sponsor us with one of the event.
Wow.
But at the time, because we didn't have a company, so actually that was the turning point. So I started to think, should I start a company to do this business? And because the needs are very high, and we started to have people want to sponsor us. So that was the time I decided to start a company.
Nice.
So we started the HEARTtalk community at that time. Yeah.
And the main purpose, what was the aim? What was the main structure of the purpose of that company or community?
The purpose is mainly we want to provide a platform for C-level executives, because there's a lot of the events out there that people can join, but I think there's not that many events that focusing on the C-level executives, like the CEOs, CFOs. Most of the time when they attend these events, they are surrounded by salespeople to try to sell them things. So there's not much meaningful conversation that they can do by attending these kinds of events. So what we wanted to do is we want to have events mainly focusing on the C-levels. So all the topics, all the people who attend the events are C-level executives. So
C-level. Did you say what's C-level?
C-levels mainly refer to CEOs, CFOs.
Okay. Oh, C-level. All right.
So we do this event mainly focusing on this group of people. So we have been doing it for the past 6 years. In Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Vietnam, Australia, London. So now we have around 30 chapters around the world.
Wow.
We do face-to-face events, online events. We have our own magazines. We help our members to do a business referral. So we help them to do business matching, everything related to their business we will do. But we mainly focusing on the C-level executives. So you can say
this is very foundational. This is very frontier looking, So prior to the crisis, here is a community of top class business leaders in the world. You're talking about I'm talking about 2018, 2019. Did you all ever foresee that a virus will come and shut down the economy across the world? I mean, how was this community? How did they handle it? Were the topics of discussion were different? I'm sure.
Yeah. So in 20, you mean during the COVID time, right?
Before
the COVID. Before the COVID, actually, I'm not sure in Hong Kong, there was a lot of protests. It was quite difficult for us at that time to do events in Hong Kong. So at that time, we started to think overseas. So that was the time we expanded our community to outside Hong Kong. So actually, it turned up to be great for us. So from only focusing in Hong Kong to can have to a global community. So actually, it helped us to go global. And our community expanded very fast after that.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, when there's a risk, it also comes with an opportunities. So so another lucky thing that happens to me, I would say.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if I were to I mean, you're the founder,
Yeah.
and just like me, everything that is being started up as a
Mm,
startup
mm,
has an ethos
yeah.
that drives it. So,
Mm,
what's your ethos as the founder? Because as a visionary myself, a lot
mm,
of people come in and they all have their own storyline. They all have their own vision. They all want to do things with different agendas.
mm,
But your job and my job as founders is to keep it on track, that nobody derails the whole thing to something else. It was not why it was founded. So,
mm.
what's the ethos that you carry with you till today? What do you really drives you? You know.
So what drives me is I would say the the happiness that um when you see you can help our members to do business. Um, so when we do something that can help our members, when we receive a thank you, then um, the feeling is more than they giving you some money. Um,
Correct.
yeah, because for what I do is I always think of like help other first, and then they will eventually they will help you back.
Yes.
So in our community, so we encourage our members to support each other, and also think of building a friendship first, then go directly on selling things.
You're right.
So these are the two things that I always keep in mind. Always do what I can do to help other people.
So
Um,
yeah, so since you've mentioned that there are different countries that have now come
mm,
together on a singular
yeah.
platform,
Mm,
how do you see the culture of finance in these different countries? How do you blend them? Because they're all nurtured in a different way of growing up, and when they come to a singular platform,
mm,
tell us your experiences about having different cultures of ethics. I'm more concerned with ethics. Just
yeah.
like for us in the medical field, we have a code of conduct, we have oaths and medical ethics and all that. So how do you, as a founder, coming up with a platform like this, keep different cultures on a
Mm,
code of ethics that is business friendly, in the same time,
mm.
code of ethics are kept to heart?
Yeah, so that was one of the things that we were we were struggling with, because we have so many chapters around the world. Um, so at the very beginning, the most challenging part was some of the members, they might they have their own ideas. They want
Yep.
to, for example, we have a chapter in Bangladesh. They have their own ideas about how they can run the community, and they want to set their own rules. But for us, what we want to do is standardize everything, so that it will be easier for our members to to contact with each other. So we don't want to have different rules at different countries. So what we did was we standardized everything. So no matter you're in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Malaysia, um, so language we use English only. So no matter you are in Hong Kong, China, or in Taiwan, all the events that we do are in English. So we make sure all of our members will understand each other when they go to one of our events. So, for example, if we will have an event in Singapore next week, so
Yes,
we
on
have
the ninth. I know,
yeah, so
9th of January.
we have a number of members will be flying to Singapore. So so Singapore is English only. So I think the language is very good there. But in Hong Kong or in China, sometimes some of the members might prefer to use Chinese, but then
That's okay. Yeah.
so we insisted the language would be the English will be the only language that we use, so it will be easier for our members from overseas.
Wonderful.
to attend these events. So I guess the most important part for us is standardization. So we standardize everything to make every members, even that when they relocate to other countries, they will feel easier to merge with the local community that we have. So they will understand what we do and what the events are, what their expectation on the event. So we make sure there's no surprises, and we set rules that there will be no political things, or we will not accept like people races to talk about like others people culture,
sure,
things like that.
sure,
So we have
sure.
these rules set out very clearly. So all of our members, they understand about these rules, and most of our members are in the in the business world. They understand these kind of things. But so we will still remind our members about that, and it works out very well. So we didn't have any problems. So far.
Sure. Okay. So well, congratulations on that, because it's not easy to command and steer a ship when as it continues to grow, and that's where the talent of comes in, and how you navigate through difficult times. But looking back 20 years in the business world, how do you see the culture of business? Has it changed? And if so, what are the positives that you can draw from and make sure that that becomes your visionary drive? You see, because cultures will change. For example, I'll give you a taste of it, Gary. At least in this part of the world, and from people whom I know who are in the hotel industry, who are CEOs and all that kind of higher level, there is this toxic breed that's coming in where it's all about survival and greed. During the pandemic time, everybody got shut down, and now they're trying to recover. And in the process of trying to recover at the expense of people who are working there, there's no time for empathy. There's no time to sit down and listen to the needs. It's all about make the goal and make the recovery fast. So, how have you seen this culture happening? You're a businessman, I'm a medical man. How do we both meet on the same plate?
From I think the culture in the business world have changed quite a lot. So I remember when I started my career, most of the when you're building a business, it's mostly related on building a relationship. But nowadays, because of the technology, especially in banking industry, so the technology has affected I think the industry quite a lot. So it used to be you can get close to your bankers, but now you are just chatting with the chat box. So it's different feeling. So when I started my career at the bank, I was pretty close with my clients. So they call me up. So we go out and we have coffee and drinks. But I think, just before I left the banking industry, everything was changed. Everything is more technology driven. So the banks, they don't want you to waste time on, especially clients that they think cannot generate money. But I think that is very short-sighted. And so they want just to put everything online, or everything put on the chat box. They want to hire as little people as possible. So for me, I think relationship is the most important things when we are doing business. So I think chatbox is this kind of technology is good, but at the end of the day, I think people still prefer to chat with a real person.
Absolutely.
So I think
something very sound.
So I think the culture is definitely have changed it from all the CEOs. They of course they want to reduce costs. They
Yeah.
want to hire as little people as possible.
Mhm.
Or they're more focused on return than the relationship with their customers. Yeah, I think yeah, that is the change we're seeing happening in these few years, especially yeah, during the COVID time. You know,
Okay.
yeah, the technology has you know
Yeah.
advanced quite a lot. So yeah,
I'm
I
sure.
think
I'm sure. Well. Thank you for that insight because you're looking forward to Singapore on the 9th of January.
mm.
This is a new year beginning. Is there a theme for the Singapore meet?
So we will go there. We will introduce a community, and also we will introduce committee members in Singapore to our members. Actually, our Singapore chapter is growing quite fast, so we have a lot of new members that we haven't met. For me, I haven't been into Singapore for more than 3 years already.
Oh
So I
wow.
used to go there quite a lot. So I used to go to Singapore. I think every 2 months. But then because of COVID, so I actually didn't travel at all. So it mostly depended on our chapter committee and our
Sure.
chapter president to help us to run the chapters. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, but I just want to be there and to say
Yeah,
thank you to
absolutely. I mean, you're the steerman, you're the man in the front, and so it's really. I want to congratulate you because it's not easy to keep a vision
Mm,
alive over the years. I know that myself, and so because of that, I'm coming to this whole concept of burning out.
yeah.
You can have a CEO sitting at the table having a board of meetings and all people are sitting, but everybody is a person, everybody is a human being.
Yeah.
And that's why I launched MindFLOW Ergonomics,
Mm,
because at the end of the day, you want to perform at the best level
yeah.
and live your best life. And so a lot of it sometimes is lost, Gary, that the
Mm,
person becomes impersonified. In other words, you lose yourself at the cost of your work.
mm,
And I've always kept to talk about this work-life spirit balance. We're all spiritual beings. And
mm,
at the end of the day, if you don't feed your spirit, you get a lopsided plank, which is
mm,
just a straight line.
yeah.
So coming to this whole philosophy of self, I wonder if you heard of Larry Kaufman. Larry Kaufman is a fantastic, he's called the Great Connector. And he
Mm,
wrote this book called Networking, Connecting, and Giving.
yeah.
And so I want to congratulate you because you've just become the honorary president of the Hong Kong Council of Early Childhood Education and
Oh, yeah.
Services. And
Mm.
what a wonderful platform to help these children. So congratulations. But how did that come on board? How did that start?
Actually, we started a NGO community a few months ago,
Uh-huh.
and we found out that actually the NGO community they need a lot of support from the corporate side. So so the one of the NGO committee, he invited me to join the early childhood, the NGO, just for me to understand more about what the NGO needs are and how we can help these NGOs to get the funding or resources that they need. So I accepted the offer because I think it's a great way for me to learn more about like how a community can support the NGO community. So
Wonderful.
yeah, so that's the reason I joined it, and
Yeah.
it's a great thing to to support the children,
Yes.
especially the underprivileged children around the
Sure.
world. Yeah, so
Absolutely. Well
yeah, it's
done.
an honor to support them.
That's right. That's why the giving part of life is so important in the
Yeah.
business world, isn't it?
Mm,
I found myself whenever I do cleft lip surgery. I
mm,
founded the Cleft Lip and Palate Association in Sabah, and when you give yourself and your talent and your expertise to another living child,
mm,
it makes your life more complete because you're giving and something is flowing out.
Yeah.
of you, and I think I want to congratulate you as being the honorary president.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
as
you.
we close this short conversation with you, Gary,
Mm.
how do you see the future of the business community in the marketplace? What's the future going to be like? Does it look good? Because right now, I tell you something. 40 years ago, in the 1984 85, I was in England doing my surgery exams.
Mm.
And the cry at that time was the great inflation years in the 80s.
Mm. Yeah.
And 40 years later, now in UK, they're still crying out the same story: inflation, no food on the table, gas prices, winter is coming. So we cannot run away from the external environment,
Mm.
and what we don't want is to change ourselves
Yeah.
and to be really honest, core, authentic people in the marketplace. So
Mm.
how do you see the future in the workplace? Is it a good time to get out into business? I mean, what's your feel? What's your take?
So for now, I think for this coming few years, it will definitely be a difficult years, especially the interest rate are going up, the inflation are going up. It's not easy for company to borrow money from banks, and also it's difficult for especially startup community to raise funds from the investors because even the investor they are short of funds. So I think these three would be difficult. But for us, the more difficult it is, it actually will bring our members closer together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we will continue to support our members around the world, and we will try our best to make every business or every opportunity for our members. We want to help our members just to
Absolutely.
get the things done, get their deal done.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we
yeah.
want to do. And yeah, so even the I think the economics not so good, but then I still have great faith of our community for the
Sure.
years. Yeah,
Yeah, I think at the end of it is still your faith in yourself
yeah,
that
yeah,
you'll be able, because I'm going to quote the words that you wrote for 2022, and
yeah,
these are your words: a lot of disappointment, a lot of
yeah,
failure, a
yeah,
lot of pain, a lot of setbacks, and a lot of defeat.
yeah,
And if a founder writes that, so I know what it feels like to ride
yeah.
on that kind
Mm,
of a wave. And so we are praying and hoping that the wave coming into 2023 will be a lot better.
yeah,
And
yeah.
because you learn from the mistakes, they're just stepping stones, failures to
True,
success.
true,
And
true.
it's a paradox, isn't it? Yeah? The
Yeah.
paradox of success is a failure.
Mm.
And so I want to close now with this wonderful time with you, Gary.
Thank you.
You wrote these words that moved my heart a lot. And you said these words, you said, it's not over until you win.
Yeah.
And you said, I will always remember this in my heart, thanks to Anthony Chan. Can you touch a bit on that?
Oh, actually, he was one of our members, but he got cancer and then he passed it away 2 years ago. But we worked it very closely together, and then he's also one of the very great entrepreneur. He we work very closely together, and then we both of us we 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 want to complete our on entrepreneur dream.
Sure.
Yeah,
The bonding
yeah,
was strong.
yeah, right. So yeah, so we always encourage each other. So I think it's important to have faith in yourself and to make sure you don't give up easily on what you do. I think that's the only way you can success.
Absolutely. Well, that's a wonderful way to close,
Yeah,
and I'm sure that Brother Anthony Chan is looking down from heaven and At all, what, 16,000 members? Is that what you have now?
Yeah, that's all we have right now.
Wow. I mean, it was 6 years and 16,000, it's not about the numbers, it's about the hearts that have come together to strengthen the platform. So listen, from one founder to another, I feel you, and I hope that we'll get a chance to meet face to face soon. And because, I think there's a lot that we can do together as human beings in
Of
the
course.
marketplace. Because that's the generation of our nation is in the marketplace.
Yes.
And especially if you have the right attitude, the right heart, I think we can make a big difference in this
Yeah.
world, and a better place to live, and also a better version of ourselves, because that's how we come together. So on that note, Mr. Gary Lam, thank you very much for joining me on Heart Talk. I'm sure that we've enjoyed you. I want to wish you all the best
Yes. Thank you.
for the years to come, and for the community at large, as a medical man, to keep it healthy, and that everybody is focused on one direction, and that is
Right.
to be honest to ourselves first.
Yeah.
And the rest of it will become a ripple effect that will lead
Yeah.
to change lives. So, on behalf of all of us here in Heart Talk, this is my clinic here in Glen Eagles Hospital.
Very nice.
Yeah, in Kota Kinabalu. We want to wish you all the best, your family, and to the whole community. Be one in the
Yeah.
faith.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
all the best, and thank you once again.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.